as fucked as it is, and we're like, this is fucked, there's some glamour to it. Hello, and welcome to the Weeder Life podcast. I'm your host, Erica Weederlight, and I am the CEO and founder of Weederlight. I help humans who feel inadequate, broken, self-conscious, and shamed around their sexuality to reclaim their aliveness, their power, and to have a renewed relationship to pleasure while preparing themselves to feel hella confident to date others and themselves. AKA, I'm guiding people to live their #best lives. I have to give you a fair warning. I do unfortunately swear like a drunken sailor, so if you do have little ones by you, just be sure to pop in some earbuds. All right, friends, let's buckle up and let's rock it to this week's episode. Well, looky here. Me confronting my shit. Working the tools, doing the things, practicing what I'm preaching. And it sounds so silly, minute. But I am challenging myself to make it be easy. I don't know about you, but I really struggle, which is LOL, with making things easy. And I've talked about this before in the pod, like I have an attachment to the blood, the sweat, the tears. How hard can it be? Like that there's a kink there. There's a kink, there's an attachment. There is, I think for me, everyone's different, but I think for me, there's a worthiness thing that if it's really painful, if it's really hard, then I deserve it. Then I'm worthy. Then you could have the little carrot at the end. And this week personally has been a fantastic week with big personal wins. But you know me, I took it to the next level and had to go 160. 160, full out, pas de bray, kick your face, tits a-blazing, glitter in the air. And I noticed my nervous system was extremely unregulated. And a part of me was like, that's okay. You know, part of me is like, oh, okay, honey. You know, like, come and suckle on mommy's teat. You know, like part of me knew that, okay, it's time for regulation. Okay, it's time for alignment. Okay, it's time for juice. And then the kinky piece was like, we're just getting started. You know, like we're just getting started. And so I was playing with these dualities of like, ooh, the piece of me that loves making it hard is up and at 'em. And, you know, I'm in group coaching, and yesterday we were integrating dualities. And we wanted to like a tantric marriage. Oh, don't you know? But like a tantric marriage union, we were marrying dualities. So some dualities were that we saw were, you know, you can't be, I don't know, can't be loved and have a lot of money. Someone else was their example was they can't claim their sexuality and be in a traditional marriage, you know, whatever. And for me, with the help of the group and my coach, we found for me, it was the struggle versus the ease. But really for me, the union is how can I honor the piece of me that's a bad bee and loves productivity and is a Virgo and, you know, let's home edit our fucking life and just organization, productivity, yes. And then also hold ease. And we did this exercise and it was a marriage of both. And, you know, our coach led us through the exercise and said, you know, have these pieces of you give consent. And for me, there is a piece of me that's super fearful. I think it was, which part of me? Honestly, both. But the bad bitch productivity piece of me is scared to marry a softer, easy version of me. Because then what does that mean, right? What does it mean if we let things be easy? What does it mean if we allow softness? What does it mean if we allow and surrender? This society focuses on blood, sweat, tears, make it hard, make it difficult. And there was fear there of like, oh my gosh, will I be looked at as lazy? Will I not be as successful? Will everything burn to the ground? And so in that quote unquote marriage ceremony, that was the fear from the boss bee, right? And then from the softer, more yin, gentle side, that part of me was super nervous that she would never be heard. So she was kind of like, why am I going to join in a marriage, in a union, if I'm going to be totally fucking clobbered and overshadowed by this like aggressive struggle version? So she's like, why am I even joining a union? And so we asked for consent, and the consent was like, all right, fine. But they both were kind of like, we need a lot of consciousness on this. We need a lot of awareness on this. Otherwise it could spiral out. And why I'm sharing this is I'm seeing this a lot. Like I'm seeing a lot of clients and audience members and, all the places that I do this work, amazing humans, we're feeling really fucking burnt out. A lot of us are struggling to reset our nervous systems. I know there's a piece of you like me that has like the keep going, like the relationship, the love with the blood, sweat, and tears. It's hard to prioritize and make it safe for the softness to come in. So I'm going on a tangent here, and that this is why, because I said I'm challenging myself, because if you know me, and there's no shade against this actually makes me feel good. But let's just say with this podcast, it's actually really not, I'm like a little bit, I think I have a nice mix. I'm not all Virgo. So it's not too perfect. It's not too scripted. I don't roll like that. Like she loves an improv. She loves a song. Like we can't do fully scripted. But I do, I have a formula where I go in and I like to write a script, and I like to, like write the bones. And then within the bones, I have like a very specific place I like to record. I'm very ritualistic, which is fantastic. That it sets me up, right? Like that structure sets me up to succeed. It makes me feel safe. But here's where it gets a little sticky saucy, is I've used this as a weapon against me. So if it's for safety purposes and structure, God bless America. You know what I mean? Like, God bless, honey, wave it. Like that. If that makes you feel supported, if that makes you feel safe, yes, honey, Erica, do your thing. However, I'm a genius little minx, and I've used it as a weapon against me. Let me tell you why. Because my perfectionist, my inner struggle queen, has said, oh, you didn't do it perfectly. You didn't record in this place. You fucked. It's going to be unsuccessful. Why waste your time? Don't do a podcast episode this week. And so as much as this is oh, am I making a mistake? I challenge myself because I'm on the road this week, and I've been on the road. So I always try to my perfectionist is like, like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And so I celebrate with me gripping the sides, and being both in panic and in celebration, because fuck yeah, duality exists. This is very, not my comfort zone. But we're unscripted. We're free flowing. I got no script. I got no ideas. I mean, I have ideas, but I have no script. And you want to know the kicker? I'm recording this in bed. I'm not laying down. I think that might be a little bit too crazy. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll get crazy. Maybe I'll take a little nappy poo. Nappy poo as I'll you'll hear me. That's got to be some type of ASMR, like a little sleep ASMR. But why I'm saying this is I'm breaking my perfectionist, my struggle that I have to record in a certain way. I have to script in a certain way. Again, if it serves me, God bless, take it and run and yas. But when it starts to be used as a weapon against us, that's when we get into the creepy crawlies. That's when we get into Crunch City. That's when we get into Lay's chip, 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 crunch, crunch, crunch. And so for this, why I'm challenging myself to do this is, why am I making this so fucking hard? And if you've heard the last two episodes, especially the last episode, With my friend, Sarah Jane, I was in the same place of like, it has to be perfect. It has to be hard. And I'm like, what if I just phoned a friend and we talked about the work? And like, what if I made it easy? Today, I feel I've been running, my nervous system is totally fucking dysregulated. I'm in the process of regulating it. I have good shit to say still. Why does it have to be recorded in this perfect way? Why do I have to write a script? Again, does that serve me for the majority of the time? Fuck yeah. I'm totally going to keep that. And why am I blocking myself and have this obsession with struggling? And again, we've talked about this in pre-podcast episodes, but the glamorization, the culture that glamorizes making it hard, making it tough, blood, sweat, and tears. No pain, no gain. There's some, as fucked as it is, and we're like, this is fucked. There's some glamour to it. There's some, it's not real glamour. It's like, I'm going to take us back to 2009, but it's like some true blood glamour. You know what I mean? Like it's not real, but it's glamour. I think that's what they used to call it. Like they're like, they glamored you. And I'm like, Sookie. What a very niche reference. Are you a True Blood fan? I sure was. I'm like on this week's episode. Okay, so yeah. So here we are in bed making a fucking podcast episode. And I teach this shit, right? I teach how can we make it easier? How can we have pleasure? How can we invoke softness? And yet it's really fucking hard sometimes. It triggers all of our stories of then I'm not good enough. I'm being lazy. I'm being sloppy. Who the fuck am I to record a podcast episode from bed? You know what I mean? Like it brings up all of this shit. And I'm here to tell you, I'm with you. And we can hold both, right? Like that exercise that I did yesterday. There's space for both. There's space. And that's why I love this work so much. Like, and you've heard me talk about it so many times, but like with the archetypes, with duality, it all exists. It all exists. And we can hold, and part of what I do is teach clients to hold all of it, to hold the grief, to hold the shame, to hold the pleasure, to hold the happiness. And that for me was, by no stretch of the imagination, is my main thing, Tantra. You know, I'm not going to preach that like I am this Tantra, like that's for some people that have really deeply studied that. Have I studied Tantra? Have I done, is a lot of my work based in tantric practices? Of course. But I'm not going to say like that's my shtick. There's much more better, well-rounded, educated people on the topic. However, with my little baby slice of life with Tantra has taught me personally many things, but Tantra has taught me holding and duality. And honestly, it taught me living and aliveness. And that's really what I'm sashaying into my next iteration of my work. I'm going on a little baby tangent here, but you know, I still help people with sexual empowerment. I still help people with dating and love. And, you know, my work has been through so many fucking iterations. I've been doing this professionally since, I don't know math. So for a while, I guess since 2014, 2013, and then my business became officially LLC'd in 2015. But I was dancing in the waters about 2 years before that. So we'll say 2013, 2014. And my business has, and what I'm here to do, it's the same shit, honestly. Like I'm here, same shit, same old bullshit. But to help people, period, actually. But that's gone through so many different iterations, right? At the beginning, it was more spiritual counseling. And then I got certified in different areas like love and dating. And then I got certified in sexual empowerment, and trauma and I love all of that, and that's all part of it. And if you work with me, you know, there's no rock, there's no stone overturned. We look at every little piece of everything. You may come in for love, and we'll do love, but for somehow it's also connected to money. It's also connected to this. All this shit's interconnected. But what I'm feeling that my next iteration for this moment is reclaiming, and I changed it on my Instagram bio, so it's official, but reclaiming our outrageousness and our confidence. But really what I'm getting at is reclaiming our aliveness. And with Tantra, reclaiming our aliveness is the whole kit and caboodle, the whole spectrum, right? Because what's the quote? I'm going to butcher it, but it's something like, to which you could feel your darkness, you can feel your light. When we avoid, when we say it's okay, when we go on autopilot, we're only getting a sampling, an appetizer, a mozzarella stick, a potato skin of life, which love a mozzarella stick. Dip that shit into marinara sauce. Dip, bitch. But she's still a mozzarella stick at the end of the day. God bless. Who doesn't love a mozzarella? It's freaking fried cheese and you got a little sauce on the side. We love to see it. And it's an appetizer. Does that make sense? So what I'm getting at is when we go on autopilot, right? When we say, I'm okay, and I'm just going to kind of live within the gray, which there's no shade. There's nothing wrong with that. We live within the gray. We order off of the TGIF Fridays appetizer menu. Again, no shade, nothing wrong with that. But with Tantra and what I've learned and what I'm really stepping into with my clients and my work, and I've been doing this to be completely freaking honest, but I guess what this has always been a foundation of my work, but what I'm really coming out with to the world is helping others with their aliveness. And we ain't ordering off the appetizer menu. Listen, we may add it to the list. But living out loud is living with full aliveness, is knowing you can hold yourself in the depths of it all. You can hold yourself in the depths of grief, rage, ecstasy. It could all be present. Because like I said, to which you can feel grief, you can feel, or darkness, whatever. To which you can feel darkness, you can feel the light. And that's, again, I have been doing this with my work for a very long time. It's funny that I have a podcast because I spill all this fucking tea, and yet I'm an extremely private person. And with the privacy thing, I don't do a great job at. It's also hard to talk about the magical shit that we do in sessions and in one-on-ones. But this has been a huge component of my work, is the aliveness, is how can we hold both? I had today an amazing client, actually two amazing clients. We touched upon this, but the one I'm thinking about, we were talking and he was so beautifully sharing that he's holding such duality right now. And he never thought that was possible before. He thought it only had to be one note and only could be one color. It could only be one shade. It could only be one texture. And through this work, he saw, wow, I can hold such confusion and rage and also happiness and joy and hope. And so, yeah, I have been doing this in my work for many, many years, this aliveness, this outrageousness, this confidence. And yet I'm shit at fucking talking about it because I'm it's such magic. How can you talk about it? But it's Erica, you run a business, honey. So you got to talk about it. So with that being said, I'm going to talk about my business real quick. And I'd love to have you, especially in this new iteration of how I'm working. So of course we'll talk about sexual empowerment. Of course we'll talk about dating. Of course we'll talk about love. Everything's fucking interconnected. And where we go awry is when we think things are compartmentalized because everything's one. All this work is cohesive to one another. But what I'm really stepping into and what I'm really, I guess, talking about more, because I've been doing this specific flavor of work for a long time, but what I'm allowing myself to own more and be seen in and be witnessed in is holding others through their aliveness. And my clients would be like, what the fuck? We've been doing this for forever. But like I said, what I'm willing to share with others, right? When I meet them at a cocktail party. Well, cocktail party. What fucking cocktail parties am I going to? Am I crazy? I'm like, oh, all the cocktail parties that I attend. But whatever. Meeting people in real time. Meeting people on airplanes. I don't know why. That's the one that always is alive and well. But meeting people, what do? allowing myself to be seen in holding people's aliveness. And holding people's aliveness gets fucking real. And what I mean by that is not only just holding their pleasure and their joy and their excitement and their adventure, but also holding a person's full spectrum. So often it's like, let's just highlight what's good. Let's highlight that. Like, how can we hold all of it? And that is one of my areas of expertise, is holding you through the shit, holding you through the resistance of fuck this, I don't want to do this work, I'm fed up, holding you through, holy shit, I fucking celebrate this. All of it, all of it, all of it, all of it. So, like I said, I got distracted. But I would love, and it would be an honor to hold you, to witness you, to cheer you on through all of it, right? To help you reclaim this aliveness, this spectrum, this fullness that I know you want to live. Help you have a relationship with the outrageous. And that doesn't mean wearing 66 different colors and wearing 36 different bangles. If that turns you on, God bless. I celebrate. Jingle jangle, bitch. Jingle jangle, shake those bracelets. I'm here for it. But what I mean in reclaiming the outrageousness is it's outrageous to be fully alive. We're so easy. How do I say this? It's easy for us to put our head down, to go on autopilot, to just keep moving, to just stay in the vanilla gray zone. That's easy. That's safe. So what I'm offering is safety in living out loud. I'm offering safety, celebration, being seen, being met, being witnessed in your authentic expression, in your authentic outrageousness, in being fully alive, tuned in. This is the Abraham Hicks thing, but tuned in, tapped in, and turned on. Having your pulse in it instead of just coasting by. That's the shit that I'm fucking interested. I'm interested in a lot, but I'm interested in getting you on board. And I'm not going to spend too long on it, but you know the deal. Or maybe you don't know the deal. But the deal is this. Each month, she's a busy gal, and I'm getting freaking busier, which is a great thing. I've been #manifesting where I'm at right now for a very fucking long time. And I'm very grateful for that. But with that greatness, other areas kind of shrink a little bit and more selective. So I open up a sliver, and that sliver is getting even slivery-er of spots. And these spots are no bullshit, like literally no bullshit. They're totally free, complimentary calls. With the intention, of course, like to see if we're a match to work together long term. If it's not, it's literally no harm, no foul. I want you to be able to use that 60-minute free session to see, oh, we are a match to work together. Or, you know what, this person is my jam, and that's no problem. And then I can pass you on to a friend, or, we still have a friendly relationship, whatever. And within that consultation, discovery call, well, of course, I'll give you some tips. I'll give you some tricks. I'll give you some tools. We'll talk about what's up. I'll give you some homework, some home play. We'll start the process. And it's a really juicy period. It's a really fucking special period. So often people sign up for those things and awesome things. I can't promise this, but I often see awesome things happening in people's lives because for the first time, they are really investing in themselves beyond just, I'm okay. They're investing in their aliveness, which, what the fuck else is there? Like, what else? I mean, of course, there is so much more. But you being tapped into your aliveness, I mean, there's nothing juicier than that. So I want to transition back into our juicy bed talk. But before we do, be sure to get that if that interests you. It's free, no strings attached. So if you're like, not for me, no problem, all good. But I do open and close. I like to open and close those spots. So definitely be sure to get one of those free spots at my website, which is www.wethelight.org. Yeah, be sure to grab one of those bad boys before they fill up, because I am being a little bit more selective on how many people I take. And speaking of capacity to hold, like I wish I could hold thousands of humans. It's just not, it's just wouldn't be integrous of me to do that. So we'll transition it in a second, but be sure, like I said, grab that info at www.wethelight.org. And on there's a lot of juicy stuff. There's this podcast. I have my free ebook, free blog, free discovery / consultation. So be sure to get all the merch. So yeah, I'm tempted to talk and talk and talk and talk and talk, but I think you can kind of feel where I'm at, especially if if this is the first time listening to an episode. I'm not going to apologize, but I think you could feel, but go back to my more energetic episodes. Go back. They're beautiful. This is beautiful, but that's beautiful too. Cause you're probably like, why is she so mellow? Like this is not my normal state. But I'm allowing myself to be vulnerable, and to be witnessed, right? In my softness, in my, okay, I burnt out my nervous system. How am I going to regulate? And so often, again, that doesn't feel like a safe space to do that. So this is a edge for me that I'm pushing, or I'm gently pressing, I should say, is how can I be seen in my softness? I've been an actress since I'm 8 years old. So for me to not come onto this podcast, and so much of it, I really always do speak from my heart, but you know me, I'm a fucking ham. So for me not to be like, okay, this is my truth, but I'm also performing and giving the old razzle dazzle, it's really fucking hard for me, because who am I without that? This is like so random, but in college, there was a song that we had to learn on the piano. Or was it on the piano? Or no, it wasn't on the piano. We had to learn this song. It was to help us. I went to school for theater, and this is a sidebar, but I went to school for theater. This is a good story. So I went to school for, I didn't know this. I mean, I auditioned for it, but musical theater. I thought I was in, so the best is, this is such a fucking sidebar, but so you did the audition. It was a fucking I don't know, it was a long ass day, and you did a dance call. You sang your 16 bars or 2 16-bar song. You did a monologue. It was a whole fucking thing. And we got to the first day, and it was like, whatever. Before I was like, congratulations, you've been admitted, and I'm like, yes. And I remember everyone we got in, and right away was auditions for the fall semester for the shows. And so everyone's like, oh, what are you preparing for? And I was like, oh, I'm doing a monologue from, I don't know, whatever the fuck it was. And they're like, right, that's for the play. I'm like, right. And they're like, but what are you singing for the musicale? And I was like, oh, I don't do musicals. And they're like, well, what the fuck does that mean? You literally got admitted to the school for musical theater. And I was like, oh no, that's so funny. I'm in the theater program. I'm in the acting program. You must be in the musical theater program. And that day I learned there is no separate difference, my friend. Someone's like, how did you come to the school and not know what major you're in? I'm like, this is at that time, that was very fucking on brand for me. So didn't know until that day that I was in the full musical theater program. It might not surprise you because I sing to you every single episode. But with that being said, long ass fucking tangent. But there was a song, and I know Liza Minnelli sings it. I don't think this is her. I actually think it was, who was this? Oh man, it's like a painfully obvious one. But the song is, I believe in doing what I can and 20 minutes. Oh, so there's a song. I should probably pull it up. But the lyrics was, I believe in doing what I can. If anyone from school is listening, you're going to know exactly what I'm singing. But the lyrics are, and listen to the Liza Minnelli one, is just fucking heartbreaking because you know the whole tale with her and Judy. Isn't it funny that you're like, of course this girl's in fucking musical theater. I'm like, how? Why was I in the musical theater program? Let me sing to you. But I can't get over these lyrics. I believe in doing what I can, trying what I must. Oh, so okay, so whatever. The whole song is about that this person's whole objective was, it's gonna fucking kill me. I feel like I have to sing this thing. This person's whole objective was to perform. Without performing, who am I? But you know it. Look up If Love Were All. I think that, imagine this whole time it's the wrong fucking thing. I think that's it. Look it up on Spotify. Look it up on wherever you listen to music. Liza Minnelli singing it, essentially, or really anyone. Actually, you know who also did a great cover? Was, well, now I forgot their name. So this is just perfect. This is what happens when we get Erica Unscripted. Maybe that's the name of this podcast episode. But the cliff notes is, this person is essentially saying, what am I? Or at least this was my subtext. What am I without performing? That's what I know. That's who I am. And for me, producing something like a podcast where people tune in, I feel like bratty, an asshole, mad at myself, shamed if I don't give it all I got. And so doing something like this is breaking fucking deep patterns. And it's extremely vulnerable too, because I want to give it all. I want to be 110. And what I'm suggesting here is not to be lazy and not show up. I'm not suggesting that. What I'm trying to push for myself here is allowing myself to be seen in all different facets of myself, all different sides of myself that I never allowed myself to have. I never allowed myself to be really in softness. And it's funny, I was talking to my client about this today, and when we were talking, we shared the similarity that I can be, well, you'll find out if we work one-on-one together, or just if you know me on a professional level, because it's funny. Everyone says that like my coaching Erica is very different than Erica. And it's actually true. It's like my voice is a little different. I show up with like a little taller energy. As a friend, I'm more like, hey, yeah. Like I let things like bypass a little bit more. I'm like, hey, yes. I'm like, do it up, skunk it up, fuck it up. And I am also like that in coaching. So again, I'm not for everyone. I'm a very specific fucking flavor. But with coaching, I'm more discerning. I am more like, there's tough love. It's more pointed energy. But I have duality, I brag, to hold you in both fierceness and softness. Having the capacity to be tough lovey. I don't even really get that tough lovey. But yeah, I do. Okay, so a little tough lovey, but also knowing when someone just needs to be fucking held. And we were laughing, my client and I were laughing this morning of like, we have both the capacity to both so deeply hold someone and see someone so fucking fiercely. And then also see when they need that moment of, okay, come and snuggle mommy's bosom, like come suck on mommy's teeth, like the energy of both. And giving that, actually not a problem for me at all. I love it. I love playing with the different energies. I love feeling and holding where people are at and what they need. For me, where I'm trying to currently press my edge is being seen in it, right? For so long, I don't know if this ever happened to you, but we all kind of have this with our family, but I was doing this work for so long in the beginning. And then I would, which is a blessing, I would go away with my parents and I'd feel like a kid, right? So it was like this fucking weird dichotomy. I remember once I did a talk with a subsection of, I believe, I don't know how, when people ask, I'm like, I don't know how this was. This person worked at the United Nations and they put up an event and it was like a UN quote unquote sponsored event. How fucking cool is that, right? And so like on a Friday or a Thursday, like I was showing up as like Coach Erica at this United Nations event. And oh my God, like bad bitch energy, like boom, boom, boom. And then Friday or Saturday, I went on a vacation with my parents. Again, so great. but I was like this contracted like shell of myself. And like when my parents' friends would talk to me, I'd be like, yeah. And I'm like, what? Like, what is happening? And so also with friends for a long time, I didn't feel, because also who wants to be coached? It's not about being coached, but I had this weird thing where I was holding people so deeply, and then I felt like a fucking different person off the call. I was like this weeble wobble energy, and I celebrate that now. That feels very fucking integrated. I don't feel like, oh my God, I'm showing up to these amazing talks and like, at the UN or whatever, holding these amazing clients, and then I'm a totally different person outside of that. That feels fucking clean and clear and under control. God bless. It feels integrated. Where I'm hitting my new block, which we all always will have shit to work on, my new rendition of this is the softness. I have no problem being seen as the coach. I have no problem, which is a huge celebration for me because that triggered the shit out of me. Because it's who am I to fucking take up space? Who am I to have my shoulders back and speak with confidence? Who am I to listen to my intuition? So God bless. This one will be an easier, smoother transition. But I had that for a while. Of who am I to be sure of myself? Great. We worked through that. Hallelujah. Now the next is who am I to be that, but then also hold softness? Who am I to hold confidence? And well, you could be confident and soft, of course, but who am I to, or is it safe? Can I create safety around being seen as soft and gentle and messy and not perfect? It's funny. I know I'm so not fucking perfect. And I know so much of my quote unquote brand is like not being a hot mess at all. Cause I'm pretty articulate, being real. But there's something about this like perfectionist about being real. So me uncombing, what if you were like really real? Like, what if you did a podcast episode in a bed? What does that look like? What does that feel? What comes up for you there? So, yeah, we kind of covered a lot of different topics here. And this is the interesting experiment about going live without a script, but kind of having a general theme. And I guess my invitation for you is permission. This fucking episode is a goddamn permission slip. Permission to press edges in a safe way. Permission to be seen, easier said than done. And that's why I love this work, because you and I could actually flesh this out in real time. Permission taking up space. And here's the real thing that I think the nail I really kind of want to drive in is permission to take care of ourselves. I'm seeing a lot of people burnt the fuck out these days. I'm seeing a lot of people's nervous systems totally dysregulated. I'm seeing people push through the dysregulation, the overwhelm to produce. And so I guess what I'm really getting at here is, and we've talked about this many times, but how can I, and again, this is something we could really go on a tangent about, but how can I create more ease? And I say that, and I already hear you say, well, I already have the Rolodex just the files are flying before we get there. And that's okay. Because it's easy for me to say, how can I make this more easy? How can I have more ease in my life? There's going to be resistances that come up with that. There's going to be fears that come up with that. There's going to be, who the fuck am I? The world is burning, bitch, and you want me to have my life more easy? There's 106 things for us to get through to get to that point. And that's okay. That's totally okay. It's totally fucking normal to be resistant to ease. Fuck yeah. It's part of our conditioning. It's part of society. It's cultural. So it may be even a little bit triggering. It may be like a little bit of like a fuck you. How dare you suggest that? That's totally fine. I get that. If you are resistant, cool. That means there's juice under there. And I'm so fucking with you. Because I'm fighting my own resistances too. So I'm with you. And that's, again, why and I'm not being a fucking ad, but that's why this work is so important. Being held by someone in your resistance to what you want, right? Because so often we want something And there's fears, there's resistance, there's traumas around getting to that thing. And that's why this work is so fucking important. And that's why I truly believe we all need this work in some capacity to be held. Especially now, we all need a lot of holding and a lot of love. So, again, will there be resistances on the road to ease? Yeah. And I have a feeling they're going to keep coming up. But you deserve that. You deserve that. You deserve the duality too. We all deserve the duality of it all, but the duality of the strength and the I did it and I'm a badass, and the leaning back energy and the being caught, being held, being surrendered. We deserve the softness. We need the fucking softness. The hustle, the grind is not sustainable. Am I saying rid it, burn it to the ground? No, I'm not saying that. There is some value in productivity. I'm a Virgo. I need it. It makes me feel alive. It makes me feel proud of myself. Again, can I unpack that? Sure. I'm not trying to burn that shit to the ground. I'm going to keep that there. I like feeling confident with my successes. I'm not ready to take that away. And I'm not suggesting you take that away either. What I am suggesting is, how can we add more ease? How can we add more ease? How can I add more ease? How can I come back to regulation of my system? How can I prioritize taking care of myself? How can I ask myself, what do I need? And I'm going to avoid going on a tangent, but I will say, this is why pleasure is important. Pleasure is not just frills and rills and rainbows and butterflies. Pleasure helps you regulate the nervous system. Pleasure helps you, this is what I need. It gives you a pulse point of, this is what's crunchy, and this will add some softness here. It takes away some of the edges. It smooths some edges out. Again, I could talk about that for 55 hours, so we're going to I'm making this easy. Let's make this fucking easy. So I'm tempted to talk, but I think you got my point here. Or maybe you didn't. I talked in fucking circles. But the point of this, as I always say with my clients, I'm like, all right, let's digest what the fuck happened. So we're going into digestion hour. For me, my favorite moments of me talking to me, but my favorite moments of this particular episode was pushing edges in ways that feel safe, right? Like, I'm not going to do this in such a way that fucking burns me out and triggers the shit out of me in a way that's like, feels like I can't hold it. This to me was an edge. This was me pushing an edge, but in a safe way that was like, pushing an edge, but I'm not pushing myself off of the edge. Cool? So holding ourselves and pushing in edges that feel safe. Permission slip for more ease, for more nervous system regulation, for more softness. Cool. Point 3 is aliveness. Aliveness. Alive to all of the fucking shades, textures, nicks and knacks, tchotchkes, I don't fucking know. All of it, holding the aliveness for all of it. Holding the outrageousness for all of it. Or, I'll say that. Being safe enough to be quote unquote outrageous, which really means living your truth. Yeah, I like that. Framing it's okay that it's okay. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to perform. It's safe to be seen in your mess. And usually your mess is perfect. It's real. It's alive. It's vulnerable. We like to see that. We like to see that shit. I could frame, but let's go off of the lesson of making it be easy. And so with that, I'm going to give you one last ta-da. I'm also going to look up a fucking song. I'm going to be so pissed. I'm going to be like, God damn it, those were the lyrics. But my final ta-da is, wherever you are in the world, wherever you got going on. My question is, even with the craziness of your life and the world, where in your life can you add more ease? Where can you take an inch better care of yourself? Where can you honor your needs just a little bit more? How can you reset, retake care of yourself in a way that you haven't before? It doesn't need to be 120%, just a little bit more easy, just a little bit more soft, just a little bit more nourishing. I'm going to order a really fucking delicious sweet green bowl, a nice yummy warm harvest bowl. I'm going to put myself in the bath. And why I'm saying this is I don't have hours and hours and days to do this. But my dare I'm going to give to myself and I'm going to give to you is, how can we find the softness during chaos? Ooh. Maybe that's the episode. How to find softness in chaos. So, my weekend is about to be fucking crazy. So I'm not suggesting we all say fuck it all and go to Tibet and meditate for 26 days. Really 21 days. We could. But how do we hold the 21st century? We're in the 21st century, right? How do we hold the 21st century life, which is chaotic and wild? And how do we hold softness in that? So, I'm going to go live a really busy, crazy weekend that I'm about to have. And I'm going to hold myself lovingly accountable of, hey, E, how can you add softness here? How can you add some pleasure here? How can you add holding juiciness? And even with a fucking crazy schedule, how can you make time to regulate your nervous system? So, my baby, my friend, my confidant, my angel, how will you, even amidst a crazy schedule, how will you consciously evoke softness into chaos? I love you. And you know I'm here. I'm a real person. I'm a real person laying on a bed talking into a microphone. So if it feels good to share this, let me know. I'm on the gram. You could slide into my emails. But I'd love to know, how will you create softness? How will you consciously evoke softness and light and gentleness and regulation during chaos? Oh, and I should add, how can we make it easy? But that's for another time. I love you. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you. Seriously, thank you so much for joining me on today's episode and on this podcast journey. And if you loved what we talked about today and you know another human who could definitely benefit from what was discussed, I would so appreciate if you would go ahead and share this podcast with them. Don't forget, hit subscribe or follow so you never ever miss an episode. And the great news is you can always follow me, my work, my blog, my podcast on my website at www.wethelight.org. And hey, remember, life is so much brighter when we shine. I'll see you next time.